Good evening, everyone. Welcome to class number 17 of Advanced Course in Drones for Development. We are on the third week of our course, and thank you so much for sharing such amazing feedback and your experiences with us. This really is motivating me to do more. So today, I was kind of thinking about something, and what came to my mind was I was reading some of your assignments which were lately submitted, and some people from a couple of countries have shared that in their countries, agriculture, the question was about what technologies do you have in agriculture in your country. And some people shared that we still are working with very basic tractors and very basic tools which have simply replaced the animals in our countries. So talking about drones would still be a very far-fetched thing, probably, or probably not. We don't know. So here we have to think about a couple of things that why do we want technology to be a part of agriculture in our country? Can it really play a role? Is it really solving any challenge for anybody, or is it adding to the burden of the farmers? Next would be how open the government is to accept any new technology, and how easy or difficult would it be to integrate it in an entire agricultural system. What I saw today was I was hoping that probably if we talk about agriculture today and if we just prepare our minds and our organizations to start using agriculture and start pitching, it might just work. But then when you have to talk about a systems change, you are talking way more than simply bringing in a technology. Mindset changes also have to be a part of the whole thing. So are the minds ready to accept new technologies? Are our systems ready to adopt new technologies? If yes, then how? If no, then how? Second thing which happened last night was that somebody who was working for insurances, who would be our speaker this weekend, he was asking, do we have database of agriculture within our country? And when we talk about database, he would mean that do we have any company who has data about the crops, the crop health, and lots of drone images or satellite images or just micro level data of the crop conditions? I said I don't know any company which actually has that. So if we talk about insurance, why is insurance very important? Because it is something which you can give to the farmers if they have a major loss in their farms due to untoward weather or some conditions which are beyond our control. Probably there is some kind of protection for the farmers. That could be one reason we want that. And why that would really help. Yeah, I'm talking about a person who belongs to ICAR, who was in ICAR, who is now going to somebody else. So we know where the problems are anyway. So there are gaps. But the thing is that, what was I about to say? I lost my thought. Okay. So yeah, why are insurance is important? Because we want to ensure that the farmers who are working in our countries are not just earning enough, but they're also mentally secured that today, if I'm investing a lot in my agriculture, then tomorrow I am not exposing my life to a risk which I cannot recover from. Also, talking about Nepal, where I have visited many villages here, and I gradually got into conversation with one of the farmers, and I saw a medium-sized farm. It was not small, very small, not very big. And I asked him that how much do you actually invest in this entire thing, and he gave me some figures. And how much time does it take to for the crop to mature? He said it's about 6 months. And after 6 months, at what rate do you sell the crop? And he gave me a particular figure. So when we divided that figure, the income which he actually has or the profit which he makes, you divide it into 6 months of investment in that crop, he barely gets about 5 to 10,000 rupees per month, and that's about $50 to $100, I guess, not more than that. And that, if you count monthly, it hardly amount an amount which somebody would want probably even to invest in their children's fees. Probably that is the reason why a lot of girls are left out in education, because if you have just this much amount of money to put into a lot of things and taking care of your other expenses that you might have, you still have to accommodate for education and healthcare and travel or food, you know. So these are the things which I saw, and I thought that no, somewhere you, if you can just cut down the losses of the farmers somewhere and improve the profitability somehow, then probably we can do something about it. So I don't know if drones are really the answer for that, or probably they can be a part of the answer, not the whole answer. We probably as a group together can figure out what exactly we may expect from technology or we may not expect from technology. If we expect from technology, how do we make it happen? And what are the challenges we possibly may have, and how would we probably overcome them? How would we give a proposition to the government or to the universities to come together? And how would we probably team up with the youth from the villages who are leaving the villages and going to the cities to probably come back to the villages and start serving again? But then this has to be a very good plan of action, not just something which we plan on ad hoc. So today we have somebody from us from the state of Gujarat. Now Gujarat, if many of you would know, is a very vibrant state in India. That's where our Prime Minister Narendra Modi started his political career, and he has a mind which speaks development. So Nikhil Methia, he heads the organization called Drone Lab, and together we initiated this initiative for called India Drone Square during the COVID-19, and a lot of volunteers started coming together. There again, I saw Nikhil's leadership take place, and Nikhil itself, he himself is a very active student leader. So he has this mindset of development and of political connections and of student movements and technology all put together. Today we will hear from him of all the amazing works that he has done in agriculture in the state of Gujarat and beyond to tell us what exactly it is like. So probably I am not the best person to tell you about it, but probably Nikhil would be. So Nikhil, we would like to hear from you. Can you please unmute yourself and talk to us?
Yes, thank you for introduction. Myself Nikhil. I'm based Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So we are a drone lab. Basically, we started from land surveying and all that. We are a Gujarat government funded and India funded startup. We started before 4 years, and we mainly in mapping services. So we started with land surveying and all that. I have experience in my own hometown. My father is a builder, and so we started from survey our own land. So we started for land surveying. After that, we were doing mining field. So currently we are mining project with Gujarat government. It is illegal mining surveillance project. And, inspection also is one of our part. We completed more than 250 towers of LNT, power line surveillance, all that. In construction field, we type with CREDAI Gujarat. So there are many builders are connected with us, and uh, we do progress monitoring of their buildings and weekly progress monitoring, monthly progress monitoring, all that. And we are also last from 2 years we are also into agriculture field. We started with CSR projects. So we do first we started with spraying. Go to the direct agriculture slide. So we started with spraying capacity. So currently we adopt two villages in Gujarat. There are many progressive farmers are there. So we started with crop spraying with them. Currently we adopt two villages, and one of villages we do crop health analysis, and in second village we are doing spraying analysis.
Nikhil,
So
can you pause? There seems to be an issue over here. Yeah.
yes.
Ma'am, he is not pinned onto the common screen.
He is pinned down. Hold on. Now is it visible to everyone? Now can you all see? No.
They are saying they can't.
Okay. Nikhil, can you stop your presentation and do it again?
Yes, sure.
Now, can you see everyone?
Yes, yes, yes.
Great. Continue, Nikhil. Thank you.
So there are total 6 applications currently we are working in agriculture. First is the spraying, and second land survey, all that agriculture land survey, and third is a crop health analysis, crop counting, and soil analysis, and seed throwing. So currently, I told that we are head of the 2 villages in Gujarat for initially research and all that, and CSR authority is funding us for all the uh, research. So currently, in spraying, we now developed a B2G model because of we show that B2C, like the if we sell drones to direct to farmers, it's too much headache for us because farmers don't have that much knowledge about the drones and all that. So we go with B2G and B2C model. So currently we are selling some drones to Gujarat government, and some we are planning to franchisee model, Gujarat-based drone selling franchisee model, and. This is a spraying. I think you all are see the screen. There are spraying drones. It's much 40 times faster than traditional spraying methods, and we can use the same drone at 4 applications. First is a in farm. We can spray in farm. Second, we are also doing locust control with same drone, and mosquito spraying. Currently, there are after rainy season, there are many lakes are create the mosquito. So we can also spray some medicine in lake and all the water bodies and area, all that. And we can also spray in on all that. So there are total 4 application we can use for spraying drone. And second is a land survey. The traditional for land surveying. Currently, there are no accurate method because last before 3 years, government also survey agricultural land, but the accuracy data accuracy is not much better. So after 3 years, means 2020, government decided to submit the yojana for the village survey and agricultural land survey with drone. So this is a land survey with drone in agriculture land. So you can see easily where is the water is going and all that with let's say DEM model, DTM model, and all that. And second is crop health analysis. Currently, we prepare. Ruchiti said about there is no chart available in India for agriculture analysis. Currently, there are 4 agriculture universities in Gujarat. So we divide the crop. Each university we decide to we give 5 crop to each university, and we analysis the ground report, and we will compare with the drone data because you can see this is a drone data we call NDVI. So NDVI give this type of report. They are color coding report. So we need a report that which color defined this problem, which color defined this problem, which crop defined the this stress area and all that. Which crop defines the this disease. So we prepare the color coding chart in terms of and compare of any ground report and all ground analysis. So after 1 year, maybe we can prepare this chart in 1 year. So in India, if anyone want to do crop analysis, they can refer our research analysis, and they can easily tell the farmer, and they can easily tell the government. So this crop has this disease, this crop has this disease. So we are preparing this kind of chart in Gujarat with soil analysis and crop analysis. So this is a crop counting. In crop counting, we are successful in the in tomato crop, and currently we are trying sugarcane, but sugarcane crop is a very dense crop. So low dense crop we are identify easily crop counting, and we use some also Spectra and other uh, um, software for that. Just soil analysis. Currently, soil analysis, we this is just sample data. So we overlay the field data on the our orthomosaic and our deliver which we get which NDY images. So we overlay the data on that, and we get this result. We try to do some use multi-spectral and hyperspectral for soil analysis, but we are not still succeed on that. The seed throwing, you can see easily. Currently, this is season for seed throwing because of after two rain. The land is soft after two rain, so we can easily seed throw, and in jungle area and mountain area where people are not able to reach. So these are the almost six application in agriculture. Currently, we are working on it. So where can we use for drone in agriculture? First is the farm survey and crop insurance. Currently, we know all about that. In Indian crop insurance scheme is not proven for all farmers, because there are many problems in traditional crop insurance scheme. The needy farmer will not get the crop insurance, but if there in the nearby political leader is powerful, there then we get the crop insurance. So we are preparing, or we are also working with the State Department on crop insurance. And from last year, we are also working in 5 villages for crop insurance. We get accurate data, and they are much happier with our data. But some of bureaucrats uh, limitations, we are not still deployed the all the in all the villages. And third one is contract farming. Contract farming are there are also big in Gujarat. There are Adani farms, and there are many private company farms are in Somnath area, in Jamnagar area. There are many are there. So in contract farming, we also give the agriculture services. Some agro agencies same. Some agro agencies means in Gujarat there are many farmer community. So there are village total 20 village at 20 village one farmer community is there. So agro agency define they bid the crop of the whole village. They define the we want to purchase crop from this village. So here they bid the crop before the harvesting all that. So also agro agency also looking for this kind of data for crop analysis and all that. After they can easily purchase the crop from the farmer. Forest department also using for crop counting, land surveying, all that. CSR fund currently we are using in Gujarat. So every state and anyone like to collaborate with CSR agency, authorized CSR agency, and many of big companies have a lot of CSR fund. They are ready to do this kind of project. So we can use CSR funding for the agriculture and all that. So this is our agriculture journey. If anyone have a question, can rise.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. And I would request either
Yes.
Saksham or Amit to please do the question answers.
Yes, ma'am, available here. So, hello, Nikhil bhai, this is Amit here. So I'll be starting
Yes.
your questions. Okay, so the first question comes from Anupama Ariel. What is the cost difference between spraying pesticide manually and spraying through drone?
Currently, we deployed per hectare. Currently, we ask them 900 rupees per acre. And the
Okay.
manually in manually we see the one labor doing 1 hectare in whole day. So we cannot compare manually labor cost with the drone data because sorry, drone spraying, because different things.
Okay. So, Mariam has a question. What is the business model of course in case if your services are not free?
Sorry.
What is the business model that you're following for your services?
Currently, we are in agriculture. We are planning for franchisee model because in there are many opportunity we see because after locust attack and in COVID situation, there are many players finding the spraying drone. So we are planning to in agriculture. We are planning to uh, franchisee model for that.
Okay. So, Ayushma Pant is asking where do you store water for spraying from the drone?
Where store water
So
from?
it is basically the tank under the drone that stores the water and even the pesticide. So it
Yes.
is more of the mechanics. So then Anisha has a question. Spraying pesticide through drones will be surely reduce the work, but how economic is it for the farmers? Comparing to the traditional methods.
So I told you that we are not charge any penny from farmers. We are going to B2G model. We want to sell government and business owners. So currently, which we adopt to villages, we single penny charge to any farmers. We already CSR authority pay us all the costing. So we are trying to do for free to farmers in our model.
Okay. So Mariam has a question. Do you suggest any particular brands for the drone for these purposes?
There are no brand in India. You have to customize your drone for agriculture spraying. If you want to analyze this data, there is a MegaSense. There is a NDVI, many other NDVI sensors available. There are Parrot, Sequoia also available for the uh, health analysis, all that.
Okay. So Julia has a question. Can you elaborate on the seed throwing technology that you had talked about?
Currently, in seed throwing, we are working with some NGOs. After two rains, we throw seed near mountains and all that. So we tried it, but we still not get any particular result. After 1 or 2 months, we go to a field and after we see that what is the result and after the seed throwing from our drone.
Okay. So Mayank is asking how TDS is the overall approval license process for the use case that you have done.
Currently, we fly near our line site, and we currently approval from the local nearby police station and home ministry for the research project. Currently, we not deploy as a commercial drone, so currently we are research on it, and we get approval from the local police station and home ministry all that.
Ken Adams is asking how much cost is involved in the agriculture your services using drones.
Moment. How much cost involved in the agriculture services using drone? There are two perspectives. First is a spraying drone. In spraying drone, it's starting from 6 lakh to 12 lakh. There are depend on your carrying capacity. And second is this one, this mapping drone. So mapping drone depend on which sensor you are using, how much data you have to deliver. It's depend on that. Both are different things.
Okay, so Dilip sir is asking, like, as the pesticides that you are using, any approval is required for them, and which approval are taken for those?
For pesticides, which question there are?
Dilip Kumar, Dilip sir.
I told that we informed nearby police station. We like to do this type of survey, and they approve us to for the because they are an open area and we are not hovering anybody on that. So they are with person. They are ready to R&D on all that. So they approve us for that.
Okay. So Mayank has a question: which of these applications allows for the largest profits without cost going as a burden to the individual farmer? So you have already answered that question that you don't charge a penny from the farmer, rather you go for the CSR funds. Okay. So Anupama has a question: do you assume any area acre or hectare threshold before using drones for the agriculture operation?
Yes, we load the KML files before when we use drones. Before we go to area, we mark the KML mark with the KML files.
So Janil Patel has a question: can you please share the whole presentation? Please not with the agriculture part, but also. So Janil, please put it as a comment. We'll reply back to that. So another
Sure.
question by Anil Kumar: can you explain the business model? So business model is already explained by Sir Nikhil sir. So Suraj Lokande, how effective can local unemployed youth be in handling these technologies for the local level itself?
So we are planning that with last year two projects. We are planning select the 5 youth from the village and uh, we train the 5 youth. But the problem is that one youth is a crash our drone. So we are planning to deploy the nearby city who can fly who can fly minimum experience is 3 years. This is not a small product. This is agriculture drone, normally 5 feet drones. So it's a crash. Then many problems are there. So we try to that, but there are some problems to empower the local youths for that. If we give them Phantom, we give them Slum, they can easily handle in 1 week or 2 weeks. But for agriculture drone, they initially need minimum 1 to 2 year experience for that.
Okay, so Annie has a question: multispectral imaging used for determining the nutrient deficiency in the soil.
No, we are not.
Are you using multispectral imaging for?
No. We are not using. We just. I just show you the multispectral image with ground data. We only the ground data on the multispectral, so we get that images. We currently not use multispectral for soil analysis yet. Hello.
I think Amit's internet has gone down.
Yes.
Amit, are you there?
What are software do you use for the example of crop counting, soil analysis, and the crop analysis? For crop counting, we use uh, Spectra, and for soil analysis, we are not using any software. We just overlay the ground sample on the orthomosaic and the multispectrum data. For crop health analysis, there are two software are there. One first is a drone deploy, and second is a X4D.
Okay.
Drone is replacing small worker, those who worker are big farmers, sparing the pesticide on technology and affecting the employment. Have you ever talked about it? It is create any issue of uh, look, before computer came, we also thought that there are many unemployment because of computer. But we now we have all have laptop, but there is no unemployment with this technology. Technology is grower, it's shifting. It's shifting. The farmers need this. It's shifting mode. Currently, technology they need this. So, like laptop, there is no unemployment because of laptop. So there is a no unemployment because of spraying drone on that.
And can I add to this, Nikhil? So,
Yes.
Radhika, the thing is that if you talk about unemployment in the farms, so I don't know if you've. I know that you live in Madhya Pradesh and you must have seen a lot of farms there. But what is happening currently is that the farmers are lonely in their fields. There is no second generation to take over from them, and all of them
Hmm.
are post middle age and they are exhausted. I mean, they are physically tired and probably they need a break. So here when technologies take over, we want to replace the manual labor because it is adding on to their burdens. It's not really helping them. And we are improving their efficiency by giving them much more. So it's not that we are replacing something, they would get way more out of it. And you're creating new jobs, obviously, in the village. So tomorrow, if you imagine an innovation center in your village, and you have the local youths employed there who have been trained, who have learned hands on. And if Nikhil says that you need 3 years of training, then yeah, we'll train them for 3 years. We'll give them a degree in this entire thing. Okay, Nikhil. But then please use the
Hmm.
people from the village. But yeah, that's
Hmm.
that's we're opening up the avenues for them, and there are a lot of things that probably will be done tomorrow. Right?
Amit asking spraying with the drone or spraying with helicopter having attached the long boom sprayer. Uh, in Gujarat, there are two types of farm. First is a larger farm, and second is a smaller 2 hectare, 3 hectare, 5 hectare farms are there. So no one hire helicopter for that. And normally, no one hire helicopter because the helicopter normally per day asks 4 to 5 lakhs on rent. So in 4 to 5 lakhs in rent, we go to there. We get a new drone from the 4 to 5 lakhs. So drones is better than helicopter.
Okay, adding on to this, as a ma'am, can I add on a point to this?
Sure.
So adding on to this, I had got a case study where helicopters were used to spray pesticides, and there was a big mistake done by the local government. And when the agriculture fields had to be sprayed with the pesticide, the helicopters flew at some 100 meters, and it was set at around 50 meters, and it was spraying resulting to the pesticide was spread out in the air. The local people inhaled it, and then people started mutating over it because the pesticides have got a side effect also. So people had got cancers. Then upcoming generations had got mutations. So these are the risks involved in that also.
Hmm. So Anisha Thapa asked that you are addressed that the so even not we are government also planning to that they will not take single penny from the farmers. Currently, you know about the Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. There are all locust attack on in farms. So government also give free services. They charges us. We give services to government direct. So that model we are planning to for farmers and for agriculture field. Because if we go to B2C, they are not working even potentially business model for that.
Okay. Actually, Nikhil, there was a question about locust. So do you have any kind of video or picture from your
Okay,
farm
so Ken
related
Adams is asking,
experiences.
drones in agriculture field would create good jobs for skilled labor, but it won't take jobs from the unskilled labor. How to tackle it?
So, look, currently there are normally we deployed 7 to 8 drones in Gujarat. If industry grow, then many people get job because currently uh, we just assemble drone here. If industry grow, we can also develop the parts here. We can also develop the other things here. So unskilled level also get chance to get job in that field. So it's shifting the all the model. There are no particular that this labor not get this job. It's shifting model. Current 2020 is a shifting scenario. So we need to accept this scenario.
Anil Kumar and Anupama have a common question. What is the minimum area that you like take into consideration before you start working on farms?
I mean, do you have currently? Currently, we do a project with government. So we cover all village for it. So there are no per flying. We normally spray in 1 acre area. So currently we are working with government. So they told us you have to spray all the village farms and all that.
Okay, so Mayank is asking, is funding via CSR sustainable in terms of frequency of investments, variation in size of donations? Are you exploring additional means of funding?
No, currently we are only depend on the CSR funding, and government also try to uh, purchase many drone. They are start try to purchase the one village one drone. They are on that model. So there are no initial funding we are required for that.
Nikhil, why don't you share your experiences with the locust attacks last year as well as this year? What did you do? How did you do? Do you have some pictures from that project that you can share with us?
Yes, you can see our this year project. We deployed currently 2 drones at Dorimanna. Currently, before 1 month, there is locust attack in India. They pass on from Gujarat, Banaskantha, after they MP from Rajasthan. So we deployed 2 drone by central government. Currently central government deployed 5 agency. We are one of them, and we deployed 2 drones are there. And in last year we uh, we spray in Banaskantha area the locust control. First of all, in India, we spray in locust control in Banaskantha. We started from it. After the locust control department of India, they started initially this product. Initially float the tender central tender after the Rajasthan government also float the tender for that they get World Bank grant for the locust control. So currently we are work with central government and also work with Rajasthan government for the locust control. Locust control normally locust are flying in daytime and in night time they sit where they reach. So currently our team go to field nearby 3 a.m. In the field, and they continuously fly 4 hours. We have battery backup. We have generator with our car and all that. So we continuously fly on the locust. Currently, it's too much good result we get, and within a moment, within a half an hour, locust not able to get up. So it's a good result, but the one problem is this this chemical is a very dangerous chemical. We are also aware of our team, so you have to take care of yourself. So we take some more than 200-meter distance from the spraying area. So this is currently situation. There total 5 company deployed their drones, and more than 15 drones are deployed are there from the central government nowadays, and it's get very much good result for the locust control.
So Nikhil, what capacity drone do you use, and in that capacity, how much area do you cover in one refill of the tank?
Currently, we have 10-liter capacity drones, but because of there are many limitations in India, we not get any parts and all that. So we do many jugars to do this drone project. So we have 10 liters drones available, and we are currently in one flight normally get 10 minutes. In 10 minutes we cover 1 and 1.5 acre for spraying. After the drone come back, we change batteries after we send drone back. So currently this is happening.
And one round of spraying is enough for one field. Like for example, if you fly over 1 acre once, that is enough for killing
Yes,
the
it's enough.
locust.
If one drop touch to locust, it's no chance to locust back.
Okay, great. That's amazing. And
You see this picture. Normally, we fly in a tree area because there are no one. Even tractor spray are not able to spray tree area. You see this tree area
yeah, right,
is nearby is one man sitting there. A locust is there.
right. And secondly, how easily are these spraying drones available in India, and how expensive are they?
It's not easily available in India because of lockdown. There are many parts not available in India. Uh, it's normally started from 5 lakh to 12 lakh. We have 10 lakh capacity. We assemble it. We go.
I think we are losing Nikhil here. Are you losing me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Nikhil is not.
Okay, Nikhil is not audible. So I think that
Oh,
Nikhil
we
has left the
lost the
meeting.
connection.
Meanwhile, I'll just answer the question which Anupama has raised about what kind of drones are used in agriculture. Anupama, according to my knowledge, just let me put on my video. Okay. According to my knowledge, according to applications that you do with the drones, you one that you do is scouting. So scouting in the sense that your drone will go over the farm and it will look at the problems. That is called scouting. Okay, so this is a regular drone with a regular camera, which you can use to do a mapping of the entire drone. And once you have the drone map in front of you, you can. Amit, can you mute yourself? Okay. So once you have the entire picture of the entire land, so mapping is exactly like the grid. So if you have this rectangular farm, you will fly your drone in grid fashion. And this will give you, once you do photogrammetry of the entire farm, you will get one 2D map of the entire farm. This will help you do scouting. So once you run, uh, you go through the entire image, you would know if there is any damage anywhere. Second, what you do is you use drones with multispectral camera. So multispectral camera is a payload which you can attach to even a phantom drone, and using that you get multispectral images. So what is recommended by a couple of startups which are working in agriculture is that you mount both the camera on your drone. So you use a Phantom 4 or Phantom 3 drone, and you mount multispectral camera on that drone. You will get both the images at the same time, and they are all geotagged. So when you do the maps, you get two kinds of maps. You get a regular 2D map, and you get the multispectral map. So with the multispectral map, you can play around with the vegetation indices, and you can find out if the crops are stressed or not stressed. So you will get a band of green and red colors, and that will tell you where you have a problem. Now, once you have done that, you can resend your drone in that particular area to take a closer look, to take a more closer focus. Either you can send a drone or you can walk yourself and check it out. If you have a large farm, you can send a drone to do that. Now, this is the process which Parrot follows. If you know that there is a Parrot company has a drone called Parrot Fields, and this is the process that they follow. And they have a very tiny, efficient drone which you can carry in a backpack to your field, and it uses Pix4D fields. So you get the analysis then and there while you are at the field. And Pix4D field is a very quick map maker. So once you have the images with you, you run it through Pix4D, and within about 10 minutes, you get your map. So you can look at the map and then you can do your diagnosis. So these are the two types of things that you use. So you use normal small drones with two different camera. And third thing, when you want to do something with that, one is, for example, if you just want to spray, so you can manually spray the way you've been doing it traditionally, or you can now start looking at technology again. So as Nikhil told today, and Prem said yesterday, you can use drones for spraying. So spraying drones are the big bulky ones, but it's the best efficient if you use it for large areas or if you use it for the entire village. Then it's way more efficient. You can't just buy a firelight drone for your own tiny farm and then just use it for that. It's way more efficient if obviously the government takes over the whole thing. And the next we'll be looking at in a presentation tomorrow. So this is also an announcement for everybody. Tomorrow we'll be having a special class with my friend called Nada from Australia. And because it's Australia, we have three speakers from Australia in the next few days. Because it's Australia time, we'll be having an early class. So idea was to record it earlier, but if you guys can come on online earlier, it would be better. So she will be talking to you about farm robotics. Farm robotics is a whole new chapter where you're talking about using different technologies to do the farming. So talking about sowing, reaping, everything. So or picking up the weeds, de-weeding. So these are the various things that they do using robots on the farms, and she'll be talking to you about that. We'll be having an early class. I'll be sending you a separate invite for that, all of them. If I'm not sending the invite, I'll put it on the classroom, which you can follow the link. All right, that's the topic for tomorrow. These are the different kind of technologies we use on farms, and this is what I know currently. Now, the assignment that you all have today is going to make you think about the challenges of crop health. What all can go wrong with crop health? You have to imagine that, and accordingly, you have to think which technologies can suit. Now, for example, it could be floods. So, flood affects farms, and drones and remote sensing can help in doing something about the floods. You can either have early warning signals, uh, you can map the floods, you can map the flood progression. We've already had these classes. You will be able to correlate the topics that you have learned in the first couple of weeks with what you're doing now with the agriculture itself, and also start thinking about more things. So in one of the assignments, somebody has spoken about banking of the rivers. So that's a very good thing. Banking is one thing, but banking itself can be planned using drones. So get creative about these assignments because this will make you think out of the box. Let me check if Nikhil is around back. I still have to thank him. Yes. So, are there any more questions for Nikhil? Okay, there was one question which Mariam had put to me earlier, land heritage and land ownership to women. Yes, Mariam, probably that's something which we all should think about. And this is an active topic which is happening in Nepal. At least the Nepal government is now considering the land ownership as, what do you say, as women can be the legal hire of the land which they inherit from their parents. So these things are happening. But more we get into discussion, and happily in this class, because of the support we had from Girls in Tech Nepal, we have a lot of girls in this batch, and I'm glad to know that all of them are supercharged to go back to their villages and their towns and start using these technologies in their own thing. So when we empower them, they will start using technology for something that is more relevant to their challenges. Any more questions for any of us? If not, then I would like to bring this class to an end tonight. And I would really like to thank Nikhil for coming here. He has been super supportive to me over the last 2 years of my entry in drone industry. Right from day one, when we had our first session for Rapid Response Task Force, he was there till now. And I can just fall back on him for any challenge that I face. So that is very, very nice of you, Nikhil. Once again, you've come to this class. We have about 80 participants from all across the world who will be watching you, Nikhil. So thank you so much for sharing with us everything that you do so generously. And we really had an amazing experience. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming here tonight. We will see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.